right, the theme song is ready to go.
It's not
It's at
gonna
its
do what you
point.
want it to do, but it'll do something.
It's not gonna mess up.
That's cute.
69 eps in.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Into Strangely Familiar, the podcast of two guys trying to reconnect as friends, because we haven't said that in like 5 episodes. The Nicolas Cage themed podcast.
What are you doing?
That has slowly developed into, people are like, when did this really become really Nicolas Cage focused? And the answer is, eventually every podcast becomes Nicolas Cage focused. It just matters of what time, and the time is now for us.
Every true friendship evolves into Nicolas Cage character acting as Nicolas Cage. And Nicolas Cage quotes. When there's nothing left to talk about, it's Cage. It's the Cage Assaults.
Yeah. So this is episode 69, is a cage match. The deed has been done, and
points.
I have a lot of I got a lot of things to talk about. There's a lot of things to address.
Much like this movie, I have all and nothing to say. God. I can say this.
Yeah.
I'll karate chop you. Hi fucking ya!
Hi fucking ya! Let's go! That would be a good time. I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen. My daddy worked hard for this.
Oh man.
Yeah.
God. I can't believe I wonder if people think, number one, happy 69.
69, dudes!
Let's go. A world record tying episode of Strangely Familiar.
Very particular.
Never made more than 69 of anything. Yeah. And this is it. So a celebration. So obviously, if you're just tuning in, go watch Prisoners of the Ghostland. It's a Nicolas Cage movie. We decided through the course of several episodes we were going to watch by checking out trailers and plots without knowing anything about it. And I can't tell if it was a good decision or not. To those of you, so yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, just stop this now. Go and watch Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Yeah, this episode's going to heavily rely on.
Do you think we just pranked you?
Right.
Yeah.
So like, that's the thing. This episode,
someone's like, "Did you prank us to watch that movie?"
This episode, like, we're not like watching like Saving Private Ryan and breaking it down, folks. We watched something entirely different. If you didn't watch this movie, you will be so confused as to what we're talking about, because we don't know what we did watch. We watched the movie and have more questions than answers. So if you just listen to two guys talk about this type of movie and didn't watch the movie, I don't know what this podcast is going to offer you. But one of you will slip through the cracks and will listen to this and not watch the movie. And I want to hear from that person what they get out of this, what they get out of this episode. Because those of you that watched the movie, I don't know what you're going to get out of this episode. It's
Yeah. All right. Well then let's get to work.
Oh, nice.
We're equipped. We're equipped.
I got a lot of
notes. I guess I
notes.
was pretty horny.
I almost don't know if it's like worth. So my buddy Brett texted me last night. He's like, "How was it?" He's like, "Just want to get prepped for the episode on Wednesday." And I was like, "Well, it certainly was a movie." And if you feel like you don't know what's going on, I think that's normal. I don't know. I might think that's the way it is. And I get a text back half an hour later, something like, I think I'm done. I don't know if I can keep. It's a
Yeah.
commitment. I'll say that. The movie itself is a commitment to watch. My first note was, what world is this? When are we? Where? What's going? It's like the basic questions that still to this day remain unanswered.
Okay. Here's my first note. Your notes,
what about
I'm guessing
overall,
your
like-
notes are more structured
Okay,
than
all right.
mine. I'm guessing yours are more structured. My first note says
Mm-mm.
Asian child with gumballs. Cage bank robber. Everyone wearing specific colors. Looks like a box of markers. That's my first thought.
Holy shit! Yeah, those are structured. That's details.
Yeah, so
I guess it's got that. It has scenery, color, aesthetic. What is that aesthetic? Is it Japanese? Is it a Western? Is it in the future? Is it past? I don't know.
I address that later in my notes. Time. All right, so I've decided that this certainly is no place to be making any assertion that this is any version of our world. This feels to me more like a comic book world where it's like this. There's no Earth. There's while we do see much Asian and Japanese aesthetic, I don't think they mention Japan or anything like that. So like, I don't think this is Earth as we know it. Well, what about you? What do you feel like?
Yeah, because it's
take me to Matt's
it's
thoughts.
clear
Is this,
like
is
geishas.
this Tokyo? Yeah.
Well, I think they're going for it because there's geishas. There's clearly Japanese specific cultural references, but then there's this nuclear power plant thing that's going on. But there's a road sign at where this Ghostland is, and it's in English. So
That's correct. That is
and
correct.
the governor
show the
is a
same-
white Southern Colonel Sanders. Yeah.
They show that road sign as like the only road sign because they show it like 3 different times.
And I guess the plot part of it, just to refresh, was Nicolas Cage, the bank robber. So that starts off right away, the bank robbery. And then I guess we don't even learn till later on in the movie that this is years down the road. He's asked to go rescue the granddaughter of this Colonel Sanders governor of this dystopian, whatever geisha world that he's created. And he has to wear the leather suit for 5 days or it'll explode if he doesn't bring back the granddaughter. Also, it can just explode his testicles if he gets a boner, apparently.
Oh, and it can
thinking about
explode
her.
an
Or
arm.
just his arm can blow off. We
It can
learned that.
explode an arm, and it senses if he gets violent towards a woman.
Mhm. Yeah. I loved. So they. I don't know how. Do you want to talk about scenes? Do you want to go over general thoughts through your notes?
I don't know.
I mean,
I kind of made them.
We're never going to figure out
chronology.
where and when we are. So let's just establish that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So right.
Let's do that.
So let me take you to a time that we're not sure of when, and take you to a place of not sure where. I think.
Yeah, because there are cowboys too, full on
I think
Western
it
cowboys.
That's correct. Correct. Japanese Western cowboys from the future past. So now we have that as taken care of. Like, it literally jumps into the bank robbing scene, and like the boy offers him and his like cohort some gumballs, and then suddenly that scene goes, all right, well, you got the gist of this, so now let's go to Japan. There's a couple girls. We cut to these girls getting into a car, and someone's name is Bernice, which threw me off because 3 Japanese girls in Japan and someone's name gets dropped, I'm not anticipating it being Bernice. So that was interesting.
Mm-mm.
My all right, I actually forgot. I don't know what some of these notes mean, which is always good for notes, because then I put fast forward to question mark homeless people. I'm not a prison. Cue title. I don't know what I put by I'm not a prison.
I am not a prison.
Yeah, he says
I'm
I'm not a
prisoner.
prison, right? Or yeah, I'm not a prisoner. Okay. And
Oh
then like
God.
the
There's something, yeah.
wacky font of the title comes up. So like we have two scenes before the title comes up, and that's Nicolas Cage robbing a bank with like a lot of white and grays, but then all of the people are wearing, there's like 8 different people and they're wearing full on color cues. So I'm like, obviously we're going to find out more about why everyone is wearing specific colors. Like, why is there a lady dressed all in red? Why is there a lady dressed all in green? Why is there someone dressed all in blue? Spoiler alert, we never understand why that's why that's a thing.
No. Nope.
So it never comes back. So the first question created goes unanswered, and then we cut away to 3 girls getting into a car, running away, and seem to be fleeing something, and then the title comes up. So, there's a lot of chanting
the
in
colors,
this
the
movie, man.
aesthetic. I mean, even the yes. Oh my God, so much chanting. It goes way too long. Like way too long. Like governor, governor. That one. There's a lot of songs that everybody's in the know on. Like it's this town. Like every town they go to, everybody's in on the same thing. It's like one of those towns where there's one visitor that shows up and everybody has to see. Like nobody works apparently. Nobody does anything. They just sit around and wait for the next visitor to show up into town so they can all react to it. And the town is just filled with set pieces. I'm convinced they bought like all they needed. They get a big clock. They needed. They bought a bunch too many garbage bags. So the people were dressed up in these garbage bag outfits. Um, like everything was just a product of having too much of it, and it was like a garage sale of set pieces, and they just put it all together like it was supposed to be. Like a lot of the vibe is like this is supposed to be artistic, I think, or they're going for some kind of like artistic vibe, and you're not supposed to get it because the set pieces are so beautiful and the acting is so great and the story doesn't matter. And the problem is those things weren't great. I don't think,
Right.
which was like a big flaw. But at the beginning, one of my favorite things. So you're talking about the colors. There's 2 of my favorite tropes in movies happen early on, but one is so the kids playing in the street together, just the generic play scene where kids aren't actually doing anything. An adult kicks a soccer ball to the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and whenever that happens to kids in a group on a street, they don't play soccer. Somehow they just spin around in a circle and just kick, like sort of never really kick the ball, but just play around it like and make play sounds. I don't understand why that's used in movies so much, but there's not an actual game where kids just spin around or encircling
Right.
a soccer ball and just kicking it inside the circle. It's the most
Right.
random thing.
Right. It's the most random way to show, like, to introduce a township, right? Like that's how you first do a
Yeah.
scene in a
Generic.
town. Is kids, you hear now a good thing to do is like slow it down to that half speed, but have the kids laughing and giggling. And yep, there's dust being kicked up and kids circling around a ball, and then one adult like walking through it. And I put here creepy chanting, and we pan in on kids wearing robes playing soccer in the street, and then weird emo cowboy. So weird emo cowboy is almost like a steampunk looking guy with eyeliner. And I'm like, okay, this guy's going to be a character that's going to be important. He's not. You don't find, like, we don't ever get a name from this man, but he just kind of shows up. And I put cue Western style music and a guy holding a dartboard. And then Nic Cage is under the floorboards and catches a bug behind his back with his fat hands. His hands, I'm like, are they trying to make his hands look bulbous? Because they literally look like oven mitts. It's a very complex concept because I'm like, he's under floorboards. Why? So I guess that's where he was being kept as a prisoner, was under these floorboards in the town. Weird place, but
Yep.
Yeah,
And you
then
think it would have been like the next day after the prison robbery, but no, we learn later on in the movie that it was probably like 20 something years later.
much
There's
later in the
no
movie.
real time. Time doesn't exist in this movie. Yeah, yeah.
No, it
Later in the
doesn't. It doesn't.
movie.
Which is weird because it's a very truncated timetable that he's given for success, and you forget about it instantly. You forget about it as soon as that scene changes. You forget about the time limits they give him on his mission because it's never really addressed.
And I don't. It doesn't matter if we spoil. I mean, it's not we're spoiling anything or going out of order. Just because we're talking about the idea of time. If you made it through the movie, you know that at the end of the movie, I wrote this, and in the end, time started again, just like we were hoping it would at the start of the journey. I'm like, because why? Because that's how the movie ends. Like the clock, time starts again. Oh, this was the thing that we cared about. Time,
Right. That was
like
a goal.
I guess we were
Because
supposed to
this
think
seems
about
like
that,
this
and
was the
not.
final
It
goal.
wasn't about this hostage at all. Yeah, I don't know. It's like finally we did the thing we were trying to do the whole movie, which was start time again. Even though it wasn't about that at all, we just shifted movies halfway through, shifted what was going on.
They
But that's the thing about time, man. Like you don't even know what it's
Right.
about. It's a flat circle and all that.
It's another dimension,
It's just-
man. So he this is where things get interesting because of course naturally like we set the stage and obviously if this is a type of town where kids are running around playing soccer, nothing's gonna set up for a more out of place individual than a fancy car pulling up, and out comes our governor, aka Colonel Sanders. So instantly gets the status because I mean kids are playing in the street and this guy's in a pretty car. I mean, wow, crazy. But my concern is that when he comes up, Nicolas Cage then comes out, and Nicolas Cage appears to be wearing some sort of like tiny mawashi, like he's a sumo wrestler. Which I didn't realize that wherever this is, that's what prisoners wear. They wear like little cloth diapers. That's what Nicolas Cage is wearing for some reason.
Yeah, diaperish. The best part of that, I gotta find an image of this. If I can find it, I will clip it into this episode. Because believe it or not, folks, you can't find clips for this movie outside of trailers, really. There's a few clips, but they're not going to show you the totally ridiculous stuff, which is Nicolas Cage is walking out in his prisoner diaper, shackled up. They show him come out, full on hairy chest, some butt cheeks. Then they do this cut where it shows the front of him where his quads are ripped. Geisha yells out, "Let me see your balls!" She yells that out. But then he's ripped. All of a sudden he's ripped. He's got like a six pack, but it's clearly a body double because there's no hair on the chest at all. Like, I don't know if you noticed that, but it's definitely a different body. There's no shot from the head up, but it's like they wanted to give him some bulk and make him look ripped just for a second in that scene. And then they cut back to him, and then it's him with the hairy chest again. There's no script supervision there. It's clearly a different body. They wanted to go with the almost like the gladiator body, kind of more rugged, thick. But it's just super double. Make sure you get that bulge, the thick quads in there, make him real thick.
And there's no need to.
Yeah, some late out of
no
nowhere. Let me see your balls.
There's no need for Nic Cage to look good either. Like, it's not like he's a warrior. He was a bank robber. Bank robbers don't need to be ripped. Like, there was no need to do that. We did find out then, though, that Colonel Sanders, the governor, does tell us that he killed 3 tellers, 2 security guards, a Navy colonel, his mother, and a child, the kid with gumballs. So we do learn about the background of, oh, okay, Nic Cage did kill people, or at least got tried with, or got charged with their murders. Governor's, I swear he said, my note said niece has gone missing, but I think he says granddaughter the whole time. I don't know.
It is granddaughter.
And then he says, or I put, suddenly a bunch of people point their guns at Nicolas Cage, but none of them are the cops, which there are cops at the scene. But a bunch of people point their, I don't know. And then it does a quick like dream sequence, which tends to be in like a blue hue, and it's a girl freaking out in a car screaming for Bernice. So that was interesting. They did that a couple times of shooting to all of a sudden like, oh, dream sequence or flashback. Anytime they kept going to that like blue hue. So again, no respect for time in any way, shape, or
Yeah,
form.
there's a lot of no. And as so that's two things. Like you get to one of my second favorite type of scene, which is the prisoner being surrounded, or anytime somebody's surrounded by a bunch of guards or security or whatever pointing guns at them. I love the full circle encapsulation of guns, because all you're going to do is shoot each other. If everybody starts firing, you're all going to shoot each other. There's no world where cops, armies, military pull a full circle on somebody and point their guns at somebody in the middle, because you'd all die. It's like, but it happens in almost every goddamn action movie that ever existed. I don't understand it. I don't understand why it's still used. It's the least sensical thing that ever
Right.
existed.
Yeah. But I ran into a really
the narrative
weird
struck.
issue.
Good.
So I ran into a situation because when they break out into song and they start singing the grandfather clock song for no reason. I know that song and I have no idea where I know that song from. I started singing along with it. And I don't know, it must have come from my childhood or something, but that song, I started singing along with it. I'm like, I don't know where this song is from, but I know this song. So I haven't looked it up yet.
Can you sing a
I
little
don't
bit?
know why I know it. Huh? Oh yeah. Yeah. So it goes, my grandfather clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. Like, and then it's like 90 years without slumbering. Tick
Oh
tock,
my
tick tock,
god.
my life seconds numbering. Tick tock, stop, short, never to go again when the old man dies. Like, I, I have no clue what that song is.
Shame on you!
It's terrifying. It gave me a connection with this movie that I never asked for and I never wanted.
I thought it was totally made up. I can't believe that's real. There's no way I thought that was ever a real song, because the way they sing it, it's again one of those things. It's like a Broadway play where everybody in the town knows the song conveniently and can just sing along. But it wasn't. It's not delightful to hear. It's very chanty, and it's kind of upsetting. A lot of scenes and sounds in this movie are upsetting, and this was one of them. I can't believe it's real.
Yeah.
Oh man. Um, I wanted to piggyback off the "Let Me See Your Balls" too.
Please.
So we do get Nicolas Cage. So they strip Nicolas Cage so he can put on the leather suit. This is where we learn about the premise of the movie. And a lot of exposition in this movie. So Bill Moseley, the governor, tells us, the viewer, what's happened. You know, you are this, you did this, you robbed this, you killed this. So it's like, okay, the old fashioned storytelling rule: tell, don't show. There's a lot of that in this movie. So much so that it's like the main narrative structure, where we don't know what's going on until we see a flashback a lot of times about what happened, to almost no payoff. We keep getting these reveals that we're not invested in at all, that we don't care about. Like it's like there's supposed to be these plot things that keep developing, we keep learning, that aren't real surprises. Like we could have guessed it. Like I had like pretty much, Nicolas Cage probably didn't shoot the kid with the gumballs, because they never really show it. So it's like, of course he's going to be like the anti-hero, the good, and then they reveal it later on very dramatically, and you're like, yeah, probably the other guy he was with killed him. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah, it's not an overwhelming surprise, but that's the narrative thing they're using, is just telling what happens after it happened, and it's not really that big of a reveal. But as he's telling him, and he's telling him about the suit, and the fact that there's a key that only I have that's around my neck. It's like, geez, I wonder what's going to happen later on. There's a key. You're definitely going to set him free when he comes back, for sure. But we get a naked Nicolas Cage as he's changing, and I'm convinced Nic Cage in this movie is just Nic Cage. That's what we love about Nic Cage, is that's all he is. And so there's a line, he gets naked and the crowd goes, "Oh my gosh." Like, of course he has a big dick. Like, that's the whole point of the line, is just to say that Nic Cage has a big dick. Because
That's
everybody's
correct.
like shocked by it. Right? It's yeah. It's no reason for it to be in the movie.
No,
except
and they
that he has
kind
a
of
big
just
dick.
shrug it off. It just stops there. Like, it's just to put like, it was like they were like, Nick, we need a 10-second scene that adds nothing, and we're not going to address it after. He goes, I got it. I'm just going to take off the Mawashi and flash everyone my junk. And he's like, that's perfect. I don't know. That's all we get.
And then they double down when I mean, we can go back to it our part, but when he finally gets on the suit and he gets on his adventure to go find the granddaughter, instead of like going into the car that they supplied for him, he gets on like just a lady's cruiser bike with a basket on it, and the crowd goes, "What a badass! He's so cool," for no reason.
It's
just like
so
another thing. It
forced.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They're just
So like,
yeah.
oh, you're making me think. So yeah, oh my God, there's so many things. So we also get introduced to who appears to be the governor's driver, Yasujiro. I don't.
Yasujiro.
Yeah, Yasujiro appears to be a very Shogun-esque fellow. Wields a sword. People randomly seem to attack him. Like, I think one or two people attacked him during this scene, but like no one really cared. So like, I'm like, okay, I have no idea if Yasujiro is supposed to be someone who's like going to befriend Nicolas Cage, or is he going to be a big fight scene with Nicolas Cage later? So you're introduced to him. But I do love that, like, we get the rundown, of course, with the task, because again, you're like, nothing's alluded to. It's just the governor telling us things. But like, so he describes the explosive suit that he's gonna wear, and he's like, okay, so the arms explode if he gets too aggressive with women. The suit will just know. But then his nuts will explode if he gets too sexually aggressive with his granddaughter. Obviously, the suit will just know. So he has this like power glove Terminator armband, like gauntlet on the inside that's like very Fallout-y looking, and it basically is like, oh yeah, everything just goes through this. Like, no one explains it. It doesn't look technologically advanced, but somehow it gauges all of these things. And folks, he gets 3 days to go find and get the granddaughter. Then she has to speak her name into his arm, and the computer will know that it's his granddaughter's voice, and that'll give him 2 more days to bring her back, because technology and time limits and things. But after all of the wieners and the attacks and everything, and after people are calling him a badass, he leaves in this car, like peels out, but then like parks and takes a bicycle. Like, you're like, oh, he's leaving in his car, but then he like just parks and gets on a bike. And then people call him a villainous, because they call him villainous and a badass. But then the car catches up with him. My notes say car catches up with him. He gets back in the car after ringing the bell on the bike. Like, the bell's got like a little bell on the bike, and he goes, not much time, huh? Like, none of it makes sense. And then he just kind of leaves. He's just kind of like, but when he leaves, you can tell like the filming is just him like driving in circles. So I don't know if that was literally supposed to be him like driving away, but he's just driving in circles a couple times, and then it just fades out.
Yeah, like it's clearly like just a set, and he keeps driving. He's not like going in a direction.
No.
Well, number one, so the granddaughter, whatever, and her 2 friends, when they leave, that's why they're missing. It's because they left intentionally. They want to get out of here because they're basically seemingly in like a prostitute prison. I don't even think it's not really his granddaughter. It's just his favorite prostitute. I think it's just what he
That's
calls
what
her. So
seems
she's
to
trying
be
to
the
escape
vibe, yes.
abuse, really, is what. Yes. And then the reason they're disappearing is because they fall into this dimension, or what this Ghostland is maybe a dimension, something like that. So he's got to go find her in this other dimension of the ghosts,
Mhm,
whatever they
mhm.
call the ghosts. And yeah, so he drives there. But does he? Is he driving? How long is it taking? And what's up with Yasujiro again? So Yasujiro brings him this car. What side is he on? Who is he fighting
Right.
in the beginning? Aren't those his own guys? I don't
Right.
understand. Like, even throughout the whole movie, why didn't they just send Yasujiro to go get the granddaughter? He seems like a very competent fighter. He's like the number one guard. Like, he seems like that's in his wheelhouse to go get her. I don't understand why he doesn't go.
This,
It
yeah,
doesn't make
he
any
seems like he
sense.
would have obeyed. I don't know. So now the problem is after he leaves the town, this is where it gets weird. Now it gets weird. And I hate that I have to say that. But so then he comes up to the what we find out is, I guess, the Ghostland. On his way, he goes up to this, like, basically this roadblock, and there's a bunch of people wearing like Shogun masks, and there's like a bus driver who's got like burned skin and wearing sunglasses, and then there's a bright light behind him. But then there's a crashing sound, and it cuts back, and Nicolas Cage is just unconscious lying outside of his car, and there's a bunch of stuff on fire, and there's like a old-timey schoolhouse chalkboard standing with some like poem written on it or something. No explanation. So literally he sees these people, cut away, now he's unconscious outside of his car.
Nope. And that goes to is this ghost town? So watching the movie, so he gets 5 days. It all of a sudden he's crashed and he's inside this ghost town, whatever. Yeah, we'll call it ghost town, ghostland, and seemingly different dimension, or it's got some kind of interdimensional entrance where it's like not a physical like fence or barricade, but just
Right.
it's sort of physical, but sort of isn't. You basically have to
You're just
crash
there.
into this land, Ghostland, I guess. It's the only way to get in there. You have to get into a major car wreck to get inside there. And is it perpetrated by something else? Is it just the way it is? Is it like a tornado that you go through to get inside there? I don't know. I don't know if I still know, but basically, in the movie time, it makes it seem like that's the town where Bernice is. He's trying to rescue, and it basically took him 30 minutes to find it. Like the whole premise of the movie, it took him 30 minutes to go find out where Bernice is.
It was
Walks
not
into
an
this town.
adventure.
A lot of the no, it was. I thought the whole movie was going to be trying to find Bernice. Sure enough, there they are, and the town hesitant at first, but it's basically like, "Oh yeah, you want to take her? Go ahead. Yeah, she's here. Yeah, she's here. Also, yeah, you can take her if you want to." It's like, what?
So
where's the opposition? What's going on?
To give you an idea, to paint the picture of Ghostland, my notes said clear Mad Max feeling. Like a Thunderdome type thing. So there's a lot of people with a Mad Max aesthetic on here. And Nicolas Cage is being brought on very much what instantly made me think of Monty Python and the Holy Grail with the scene of Bring Out Your Dead. And the guy's just got a like little pull cart behind him. Nicolas Cage is on one of those carts. And there's another cart or a different girl on a cart with him. And then there's a lot of people that look like they just got out of a Halloween party because they're covered in like toilet paper streamers, like bunch of white streamers, and they're dancing around. And we get that for like 3 solid minutes with no explanation of just 50 movie extras dancing around with like streamer toilet paper all over them. I don't understand. It's so long. It felt so freaking long while I'm watching it, giving no explanation.
And I think there was definitely an idea to like bring in again the aesthetic, like whoever the director was like, we need to have these long scenes of just establishing the environment, the people, the costumes. But I don't know why, because it's not telling a story, and it's not. If it's just meant to make you feel weird and tired, it worked, because that's all it really did. And then it's the first appearance of the big clock, where we see people trying to physically hold time from moving, like hold
Right.
the second hand on a clock. Like that's their whole job. That's all the town's trying to do. And then Bernice, much like other prisoner women or prisoners of the ghost who can no longer speak, is covered in these. It's a bunch of creepy mannequins and like porcelain doll
Yeah.
imagery. Um, so a lot of like sort of like generic fearful imagery that's going on, and I don't know if that's meant to be just upsetting in one's own mind, or to consider like a nightmare realm or something like that. I don't know if they're trying to go for something that like deep, or if it's just, hey, I got like 10,000 pounds of free mannequins and we can use this in the movie. It seems more like
This is
that part
this
of
is
it.
like the this is
And
like
that's how he
the
finds her, dressed in that.
this is like the I think you should I think you should leave with the stanzo fedoras and all of the meatballs.
Yeah.
We just have them on hand and we got to use them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the one girl notes he has thick red blood, and that sends everybody into a frenzy. I don't know if they're trying to celebrate like he's special, or if they are like thinking about eating him or drinking his blood. They don't really go into it, but they get really excited when they say he has thick red blood. And that's where we get, when they start going up and trying to like touch him, that's where Nic Cage turns full Nic Cage and says, I'll fucking karate chop you. Hi fucking ya. I'll karate chop you. I'll karate chop you.
Don't touch me. Hi fucking yeah. And it seems like he'd be making a joke that he's experienced with martial arts. You know, the way like little kids pretend they know karate? That was
Right.
kind of how he acted. So I couldn't tell if he was truly a man of the fist or not. Because it seemed like it didn't seem like it at all. I gotta say,
No,
it didn't seem like
I got the vibe that the
he was very
character was
confident, very alpha male. But
I got the vibe that the character was faking that he knew karate. I think. I hope.
And I think Cage. I think half the script had to be improv, and had to be like just do you, man. Whatever you think is right for the scene. It doesn't matter if it goes along with whatever your character. Like, don't think about character work. Just think about what you would say in this situation. And that is
true.
So sometimes you're like, he's clearly not afraid of anything there.
We get it. We get one of the most main characters, Enoch, who looks like a poor man's Richard Dreyfuss. Never really adds anything into the movie, but he gets a good amount of lines of irrelevancy. And we find out that they call Bernice Little Cookie. I don't know why, but they call her Little Cookie, and she can't talk. And I have here, she can't talk because she's in Ghostland ? So I don't we don't know why she can't talk. She just can't, or doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, we still don't know like whose side again. What side is everybody on? Like, are these the people? Are these the ghosts? Is it not? Is it just the Shogun type fellas that were out blocking the town? Are they all working together? Who's against each other? Does it matter? It seems like these people are really into him leaving and being okay with just taking her back. But all the people in the town are afraid to try to leave because they think that the ghosts will stop them. I guess, even though we don't see any evidence that that's ever happened before. I don't think.
No.
And yeah. Again, more flashbacks keep happening. We get a long flashback of the bank robbery, because it is like Nic Cage. They agree, Bernice, that he's going to take Bernice with him. Well, first he gives her some water, And there's this weird erotic scene of him giving her water, where he's making noise. What does he say when she's drinking the water? Um, Take it
He,
off, take it, because he's trying to tell her to take off all of her mannequin clothing, but it's really kind of weird and like over erotic. Take it off, take it off, take it off. That was another very chanty. Take it off, very
because
uncomfortable.
yeah, so like,
And as he's doing
sh-
it, she's looking at him. Yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say it's like because he gets her out of the area and then he wants her to say his name into the armband, but she won't. So he's like, "Oh, you must be thirsty, so that's why you don't talk or can't talk." So he starts pouring her some water, which looks like it's working, but then he kind of like accidentally starts like waterboarding her, because I don't think he knows how drinking works. And
yeah.
but yeah, she like starts like drinking, and he goes like, "Yeah!" Like his eyes light up, and he turns it into a very much a sexual thing. And then, but as we know,
Yeah.
the beep beeps, the beeps start happening, and that suit doesn't give a fuck, and so that suit blows off his left nut. And then when it blows off his left
Yep.
testicle, suddenly he holds up the testicle as if it's whole, and it just got like separated from him. I don't understand, but he holds it up, and then he passes out.
Yeah, so he's super aroused. I don't understand because he's pouring water into her mouth and it's just going in and pouring out. And he's like, "Oh yeah," like that. That's what gets him. That's his kink. Is just like a girl just having way too much water in her mouth and pour all over his body, and he's clearly horned up by it. And yeah, it just blows off his vas deferens or something like that. It just
Mm-hmm.
blows off just the just the tube to the testicle.
Yep.
And the testicle is about the size of a Cadbury egg. He takes it out and holds it. Of course, it's to be expected. Man with a huge dick, huge testicles as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it completely knocks him out. And you think that would be the point where she would be like, "Fuck this dude, I got to get out of here." No, that's the beginning of her appreciating him as a hero. That's when you think there'd be some kind of building, but pretty much right after that scene, she's in on him rescuing her for some reason. No explanation
Mm-hmm.
why, just a creepy dude who was getting horned up about her drinking water. You know what? He's probably all right. He's here. He's here to rescue me. He's here to rescue me, quote unquote, to bring me back to the place where I was being abused as a prostitute. Yeah, this
Yeah.
sounds. Let's do this. Let's do
Uh,
this. Yeah.
and an important part is that he also acknowledges, for some reason, hey, you have a scar on the inside of your thigh. But then after his nuts get blown
Mm,
off, or his one nut gets
mhm.
blown off, then we go into the dream sequence that elaborates on the opening dream sequence we saw at the beginning of the movie, which is him and the other guy at the bank. And now he's collecting money. He tries yelling at his buddy who's aimed at the kid that he doesn't want him to shoot the child. So he's like, hey, you can't be shooting kids. But then this giant gumball machine is there and that explodes like a lot of times. Like they're like, we have like 7 different angles and we're going to show every single one of this gumball machine in the bank exploding. There's police. Everyone is bad with guns. A lot of cross shooting, sideways shooting, like yeah. And then Nicolas Cage asks the other guy that's robbing the bank with him. He goes, "Did you take your meds?" And the guy's like, "Did you?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a zany thing to say to each other at the bank robbery." And then after exiting the bank, Nicolas Cage seemingly just runs away, and the police all focus on the other bank robber that's robbing with him. Bunch of innocent people get shot, and a girl gets shot in the leg. Oh, and then you see, uh,
Whoa.
from ankle down, you see fancy white pants and white shoes walk up and kind of pet her like she's a wounded puppy. Doesn't actually do anything to help her, but then you're like, oh shit, he shot Bernice, and Bernice was then helped by Colonel Sanders. Oh, it all makes sense now. I use air quotes generously with "it all makes sense now." But they did try pulling us back in.
Yeah, that's when I wrote the note. At Bullix, I said, well, I wrote, of course he didn't kill the people in the bank robbery. Like, of course we were gonna know. I mean, that just makes sense because remember, he's a good guy now somehow, even though he is robbing banks. You're right. The gumball scene, gumballs exploding as they break out of the bank. More gumballs, some reason, explode out the door just to add gumballs onto the street. Um, and I wrote this note. Long story long. That's this movie, The Rhythm. Long story long. Trying hard with weird, artsy scenes, with these reveals. Like, do we even care about the reveals? Um, just series of flashbacks and exposition on how we got here. That's all this movie is, and it keeps doing it. It keeps delivering on that, um, to the point of, oh, okay, like, oh yeah, the girl got shot in the leg. Oh, it was her. So, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's they're connected, sort of. And then he tells her like, "It's all because of me. That's why you're here." So like that would add it, like that would make her sympathetic to him for some reason.
Right.
Like, and that's when she's really in on him. It's like, oh, that was you, the guy who was robbing the bank that caused my mom to die and me to get shot. Again, yeah, double, yeah. Please
I do
help
want
me.
to help you.
I really need you in my life. You're my hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've always said is I want more of this guy.
They then they had the flashback, another story time where we learn about these quote unquote ghosts and who they are, because we see the ghosts, we see the Shogun with the masks, and then we see a guy in an elevated area who's got like the burned face, like the lava face. Looks like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles villain, somebody who's a total burn victim. And surprise, surprise, we learn later on it's Psycho, as he's known, his fellow bank robber. How could that have been the case? How could it have been that guy the whole time? Because we learn that Ghost Town was created 20 years ago or so because a bus filled with convicts ran into a truck filled with nuclear waste. And it's like the worst superhero origin story ever. They collided, and it turned these convicts into nuclear radioactive convicts that now ran Ghost Town. And I don't understand where the time and the dimensional stuff happens. But wow, do you think it started with that? Like, what if a convict bus ran into a nuclear waste truck? You know what I was thinking in that time is like, wow, they really, really should have taken a plane. That would have been a lot better.
You know,
some sort of airplane for convicts instead of the bus.
Nuclear waste played a way bigger part in scenarios in like 1990s comics and cartoons than it ever really does in real life. There's not as many things transporting nuclear waste ready to transform people as much as I thought. It's like that in quicksand.
It doesn't kill you. It just turns you a little bit melty.
All the prisoners in Ghostland 2 crawl, like kind of like they're spider people. No explanation on that. But that's what they do. He tries to help Bernice as they try attacking him, and he pushes her away to help her. But the suit doesn't like violence towards women, so his right arm bomb goes off, and the arm stays intact. I felt pretty cheated here. I thought the arm was going to explode. No, it's just kind of like inconvenienced. He seems to lose general use of the arm, but the arm's still there. It just kind of has some markings on it. A little lackluster on the blown up right arm for being aggressive towards women.
Yeah, and then I got really confused at this point because then he passes out, and then they awaken, almost exactly the same scene as when he arrived in the town, right next to this cart, except she's there now. Nobody's helping them. I'm like, did I fall asleep? Did I fall asleep and miss like 10 minutes of the movie? Like, what just happened? I'm like seriously lost. Again, no time. Like, did they cut out a portion of the scene? I don't know. Again, where are we? What just happened? How did that end? Like, I was like, did I black out and just forget? Like, how did they get to here all of a sudden? Because they keep flashing back to the governor's town to show more hijinks with the geishas and more sing-songy kind of drinks and partying. And it doesn't really seem like he cares about getting Bernice back at all. But just more exposition about the town. Yeah, we flash back to him down again. She helps him up, talks into the speaker finally
Mm-hmm.
because it was on the last day. So we were really like half an hour into the journey, and now all of a sudden he's waking up and we're on the end of the third day, I think, just in time for him to get saved, right? Because I think at the
Yeah,
party,
and
like we're at the governor party, they were like, it's been 2 days. That's how they tell you it's been at least 2 days, but you
that's
don't
correct.
really know. So were they just passed? Was he just passed out for 2 days? Is that what happened? I don't know.
So, um, the weird thing I found was that she's trying to wake up Nicolas Cage, and she goes from like to like, "Hey, get up! Come on, let's go!" And like now Bernice is now back, amped up, feels great, living life. She got like a C4, and now is like going and ready to go. And then then they're at the governor's house, and he keeps saying like they all call him, like all the women, the hooers, if you will, keep saying like, "You're a clock." They keep calling him a clock, like you command all time. Like, and I'm like, what? I'm like, so wait, is he like a metaphorical clock? I'm like, oh no. I'm like, this is. I'm like, I'm now taking this confusing plot, and now it's even more confusing. Because then the governor, like Yasujiro's there, but he looks upset about something. The governor then makes it rain, and then he yells at a girl, forces her to be a clock, and keeps saying tick tock. He's like, "You're going to be a clock until she comes back." And I'm like, "What are we talking about?" So like he makes a girl mimic a clock. Um, it's very very confusing. It just gets more and more confusing. Everyone loves in this town saying TikTok though.
Yeah, tick tock, tick tock. And this is where they start going really heavy handed with this clock metaphor that they didn't really introduce
Nope.
before and is not consistent. And we don't understand what is the meaning of the time at all and why he's a clock now and why we even care about it. Still no idea about that. Um, and it gets real jumpy now, the plot, because it's like almost like, well, we got to start tightening this up. I mean, we're not going to explain anything, but we got to start moving things back to Nic Cage bringing Bernice back to the town. But how are we going to escape? How are we going to escape the Ghostland? Well, what we got to do is charge up all these cars. We got the Rat Man, which again, I didn't know if Rat Man what side he was on, but he's like the mechanic who's building
Mm-hmm.
all these lights and these cars, and we're going to use him to get out of here. So it's a series of like what seems like a kind of a montage in a way, or like another scene of like building this community of like exiting the exit strategy, and like all the kids are having a good time and everybody's playing with Ratman, and we're building these cars and getting all this technology, everything we need to finally escape Ghostland. And when they go to do that, that's when we see Psycho, we see the Shoguns, and this big army's ready to escape. And then Psycho's just kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's not me, by the way, I'm not the bad guy, it's the governor.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't even know why you guys didn't. Why didn't you just go out the front door? Like
Right.
Sandlot style.
Clowns.
Why don't you just knock on the front door? I'd have helped you. Like one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we could have just left the whole time. Like, I don't understand. Like, what's going on? I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
There's no opposition to going into Ghostland or to leaving. Why is that even a thing? Why was that like most of the movie, being stuck in a place that you were never stuck in as a prisoner the whole time? I'm beginning to think we, the viewers, are the prisoners. That's the metaphor. We are the prisoners of the Ghostland. Watching this movie is making me insane.
Yeah. So yeah, like also too, when they're all ready to leave and like everyone's like amped up after they have a nice montage of putting all the cars together to leave in Mad Max Carnival, is that Nic Cage is wearing some sort of like old timey football helmet for no reason. It's just like a dirty old football
Yeah.
helmet is what he's wearing. But yeah, like it's weird because like too when he sees Psycho, he goes like, "You used to be cool when you drank. You used to be like fun to drink with, but then you started murdering kids, and I don't like doing bad things." Like so, but like yeah, it's so I even
Yeah.
put here, Psycho lets him leave. Real simple. Tells him he's got to kill the governor though. Um, and Psycho turns out to have a very similar ability to WWE's Kane because when Psycho wants, he can cue nuclear bombs in the background. Um, I don't know
Yeah.
how or
Yeah, you
why,
can
but
go.
he
Let me just blow
does.
this up. Yeah,
Yeah,
with
like
magic.
and there.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed, but after that, I don't really have much of a context other than there was a right before cutting back to the governor's house. There was a really bad green screen of Nic Cage standing in front of like the clock tower area, and it was like epically, just terrible green screen action. And I'm like, yes. So like, I feel like that was like a last minute budget or last minute like scene that they didn't have the money to put them back at Ghostland. They forgot to like tape that one visual, so they green screened it. But yeah, then after that we're back to the governor's house to really wrap this movie up. Like this is final boss.
And there was the one there was this moment too that I think was supposed to be a big deal too, a big plot reveal as he's escaping or they're building their escape plan. And it's like this idea of like, oh, the ghosts are really the ghosts to me as Nicolas Cage are the children and the people I've hurt throughout my life. Those are the real ghosts. And they help me. They're helping me because I am radioactive. Like he just says that all of a sudden. You're like,
Yep.
what?
He does say that he's
Wait, were you
radioactive
in the
for some
oh,
odd
so you were
reason.
on the bus. Oh, you're radioactive. Okay. Yeah, okay. But that's why they're helping you? That doesn't like I think it's supposed to be a thing of like, see, I'm connected to the ghosts. That's what the ghosts are. It's really what's inside me, and I'm really radioactive. And it's like, who cares?
Nope.
It doesn't mean
Falls
nobody
flat, real
cares.
flat.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I love the line. I love the line. The delivery made probably the best quote of the movie. They help me because I am radioactive. It's like, thank you.
Just
At least we
makes
get
no
that.
sense
At least
and
we get
adds
that from the
nothing.
movie. That was
Uh-huh.
it didn't matter. Didn't matter. I was like,
Mm.
why? Why? Okay, of course. That's great. I'm glad you are. But you guys can just go. Just
Right.
go. And then yeah, so then Psycho's just like, yeah, and they're like best friends, he and Psycho.
Uh-huh.
They catch up and it's like, you think they would fight or something like that? Some have some kind of quarrel.
Mm-mm.
It's like, no.
Nope.
No, yeah, go ahead. Oh, by the way, it's not me. I'm not the bad guy, it's the governor.
Yep.
Like, oh, tight. Great. Thanks for narrating the movie for us. Again, just
Right.
like here's another non-fight. Yeah, so we go back to the governor's headquarters for the I guess the most action-filled scene of the movie. And again, Cage has the helmet on for the rest of the movie, pretty much.
Yep.
The football helmet that's been burned and has half a face cage missing. He's just wearing it for the rest of the movie. For the most of it, through the fight scene, he's got a fake a metal arm that he basically stapled over his regular arm, so his fingers are all mangled. And when he put a sword inside of it, cool,
Yeah, very
cool move.
Very
I like
Ash
it
from the Evil Dead.
but I don't understand it. I don't know why. Yeah.
This is where
mildly underwhelming action.
But this is where when they show up and Nic Cage wants the key from the governor, this is where the weapons just there is no rhyme or reason to the weapons that you see in this like 3-minute span, because this random like people have swords, but then people also have pistols, and then this girl just runs over to a open minigun, like a Gatling gun that is just sitting there, and this little girl runs over and just starts mowing people down with it.
Yeah. So Bernice's sister, I think it was, if I'm right.
I think so.
But it's like that gun was there the whole time, and then it's just like Like, okay, so 90% of the people are dead now,
Yep.
out of nowhere for no reason. Again, just like, okay, good, we got ourselves a smaller fight now. This is
Right.
easier to film. Like, that was the whole reason for it. It seemed like.
Yeah, like a guy shoots Nicolas Cage, and then like the little kid from
Then
the
we've
bank
got
just
Yasujiro
shows up
again.
and gives him like a thumbs
Yep.
up and then leaves. Like
Yep,
so that like
yep,
the little
yep.
kid just appears. We also get martial arts Nicolas Cage too, just in the midst of gunfire. Then it turns into a
Yeah.
martial arts exhibit, which is neat. But then it goes back to guns soon after a couple flips and twists and stuff. So it's almost like they really forced getting that in there and forgot to do that and have it escalate, because it went like guns, then martial arts, then guns again. Swords, pump action shotgun was in there. So yeah, again, the weapons are all over the place with this.
There was some pretty decent gore, but some of the action scenes, I don't know if they paid off. They were fine. I would say they were fine. Yeah, so the governor doesn't give Cage the key to his bodysuit, which we always knew was going to happen. And then everybody starts fighting, and then there's Yasujiro again. What side is he on? Why is he fighting other? I guess you'd call them samurai in Samurai Town. Why is he fighting them? Aren't they on his side? Who is he killing? Like, still no idea. Like, why are they fighting each other? No idea. And until it finally gets down to Nic Cage and Yasujiro. And in my head, I'm like, oh, they're probably going to be friendly now, because Yasujiro doesn't really want to be the governor's right-hand man, because his sister is imprisoned by him, and he's only helping the governor because his sister is in prison. So why doesn't he just kill the governor and get the hell out of here? So he's probably going to be on Nic Cage's side because he hates the governor. Nope, he still fights him, still wants to fight him. No idea why. Until they keep fighting, until they comically punch each other in the nuts, and it makes a ding sound on each one. Ping,
Yep.
ping. And then they stop fighting, and they go, fuck, because each got hit in the nuts.
Yep. There was literally like someone let their like
we need a little
9-year-old
comic relief here.
Yeah, someone let their 9-year-old finish that fight scene, and they're like, and then both guys are gonna get hit in the wiener, and then we're gonna make like a bell ring, and it's gonna be really funny. Like, so,
Yeah,
then
like bell sound just takes you right out of the world.
and then the girls, then all of a sudden, all the whores just turn on the governor and be like, "Yeah, you're a bum." They literally just like nothing even happens. They're just like, "Oh yeah, fuck this guy," and they all start like making fun of him and making him like feel bad about himself. Like, it was actually pretty hilarious. Like, they don't attack him. They're just like, "Ah, you're an idiot. No one likes you." Like, so Susie, her sister, is crawling away, and then
We could
Bernice,
use,
huh?
yeah,
Susie's crawling away, and then Bernice remembers being a little girl, and then shoots the governor a lot, but like slowly. So like it's not like bang 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 bang, bang unloads a clip. It's like bang 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 bang, and it takes like 20 seconds for all of the shots to come out as she just keeps shooting them. It's so awkwardly paced. It's very very odd. And then she goes, "From all the sweet bitches."
yeah. Oh god, yeah, that's right. From all the sweet bitches. That was a good line. I wish there was more of Sophia, but that was the actress Sophia Boutella. And
Mhm.
she's a badass. I think we talked about it in one episode. I don't think you knew who she was, but she's been in a lot of movies, and she's a fucking kick-ass like action actress, and she could have done more. She had a little bit of a fight scene, a little bit of sword play, but I don't think she was used to her complete. What she could bring to the table. She wasn't fully utilized. But yeah, sure enough, after that he gets the key, turns off the suit, and then time was able to go again.
Yep.
Like we said. Just like we wanted. Time started. That's what everybody wanted. I guess Ghostland was gonna get rebuilt. Are they gonna live there, Nic Cage and Bernice? Are they a thing? Are they gonna Is this going to be the post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland that's going to get rebuilt? I don't know. Do we care?
No,
I don't think we
no.
did because I didn't care.
It gives
It's
the
like,
trope. It does do the trope of everyone in Ghost Town is existing, and then a little Asian child runs in and goes, "The governor's dead! The governor's dead!" And everyone celebrates. So they get message across by like little messenger children. So that was neat. People are enjoying that the governor was dead, and then the clock starts ticking, and then when it hits 12, an explosion happens, the clock falls, and everyone's really happy. I don't understand.
yeah, they made
what-
us. Yeah. Yeah, the governor's dead thing was weird because it's like it seemed like everybody wanted the governor dead. Why didn't they just go do it? He was never really heavily defended. I mean, Yasujiro was there, but he's not like a formidable warrior with superpowers. Anybody
No.
could have killed him at any time. Like, I don't understand where his power comes from, except maybe somebody's going to say it's time. But how does he use it? It doesn't make any sense. There's no evidence of it being used. There's no showing of it at all. There's no way. All right. So the movie ends. What are you feeling as this movie is going through? And I'll just ask you saying this.
Sorry, boss, but there's only two men I trust. One of them's me, the other's not you.
Wow. It's this is a really, really bad movie. It's frustrating. I was very frustrated because, like we said, is like there's just you can't even. It's not that it's a bad story. You can't follow it, and that's frustrating. That does not make for a good watch. Some movies are difficult because they're very intertwined and you have to watch them a couple times, but this has such shit dialogue with jumping around that I didn't miss anything. It's just a bad movie, like poorly put together, and that's very frustrating. So it was it did not make me feel good. It did not make me feel good.
And
How about you?
I'm usually, and we talk about it a lot on the podcast. I like to give credit to stuff. I like to be the most okayest with everything in the world. I'm okay with a lot of shit. Just because that's the way I like to approach things. And I'm not okay with this. It was just bad. I don't know how it got 4.5 out of 10. It doesn't make any sense
It
to
does
me.
not
Like,
deserve
how could it
4.5.
get anything redeeming? Because the problem was it didn't have no. Then there's no like redeeming. There's like 5 Nic Cage lines that are fun. I mean, I like whenever he does Nic Cage stuff, but it didn't deliver on the ultimate because I think it tried to be like some of the recent Nic Cage movies, like Your Mandy, your whatever you said, The Color and the Space or
Color in
whatever,
Space,
Pig,
Color of
where
the
they're
Space,
definitely
yeah.
weird movies, but they're good. Or yeah, um, and I like stuff that sometimes is just set pieces or an atmosphere and a feeling, but it's got to be good. And this just I don't know if it tried to do it or if it just didn't care about it. I can't believe this movie was made. Someone finished it and was like, "It's ready to go, ship shape. Let's get it out of here."
All
So
right.
I was curious to know. I wanted to look up what were like good reviews of it. Like, what do people have to say that's redeeming about it? Like 5-star or 10-point reviews. Like, what would they say? Because let's see. I'm sure 1-star reviews. Like, let me see. No disc in case. Okay, that makes sense. Like, because I would say I would never watch this movie again, ever.
No.
Like, I just wouldn't. I wouldn't watch any scenes of it again, ever. Right? Okay. And there's no because I was like, what are the odds? Is there a world where it's better on a rewatch where we miss stuff and it's better and it's like a cult movie that we just didn't see it right the first time? Is there a chance of that? Is it a 1%? Is it 20%? Or is it 0? Because I think it's 0%. I mean, I won't ever give it another chance. That's for sure.
No, it's
what if you ask
total-
of a film, please
total
redeem
waste.
yourself, Nick, and do another National Treasure? I wouldn't go there.
Yeah, let's pump the brakes on that. I don't know what this costs to make, and
Someone's going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
It's being hidden from me. I don't like that the internet is not telling me how much this costs to make, because that's how I need to understand my frustrations. And it raked in over $80,000 at the box office. It had a box office.
Wow. What did I just watch? I've seen other Nicolas Cage movies recently, so I thought I was prepared for a low quality film that's so awful that it's good. Exactly. But
Right.
besides this movie being flashy and visually entertaining, everything else in it is someone's drug trip fever dream that was poorly translated into a movie. Many characters speak nonsense. It's almost all word salad. Honestly, if this was a silent movie, I would rate it better. Ooh, interesting. At least I could be interpreting this incoherent mess into something more substantial using my imagination. The writing is bad. That's an interesting thought. Silent? Wow. I'm really glad I didn't buy it, by the way, because I was thinking I was going to rent it and be like, you know, I'll just pay a little extra to buy it just in case I need to like use the footage for something.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad I don't own this movie. I would have been real bummed if I owned this in my
I'm glad
Amazon
that I
catalog
signed up
forever.
for a trial of AMC and didn't even pay money to rent it.
Shudder? Or AMC? Yeah.
So, and I get a couple more days of Shudder with it too. So I think Mandy's on Shudder, so I actually might treat myself to Mandy as well.
Mandy is awesome. It's kind of that vibe again where you're unsettled, you don't know if you like it, but I think you end up at least liking it. It's sort of like a revenge thing. It's very uncomfortable. It also has one of the craziest scenes I'll ever see um, regarding macaroni and cheese. I won't spoil it anymore, but it's worth the watch. Um, Here's want to hear some 5-star reviews?
Yes.
See if we can pull some up and see what people thought. An operatic dance of dystopic surrealism. There is no plot, but there is theme and tone and amazing visuals. The Japanese imagery was engaging and a feast for the eyes, adding the greatest character actor of our time, Nic Cage, and his typically excellent, relatable acting made me give it a 5th star. And I never give 5 stars. Bravo.
Oh my God. That
guy never gives 5 stars, gives it to this movie.
Because
of Nic Cage's relatable acting.
That person either is trolling, and that's fine, or they are just that person who goes like, you normies just don't get it, and I get it. Like this neck beard Mountain Dew chugging dingleberry in his fucking parents' basement is being like, dude, you just don't understand. Like, it questions me when you go like, but the Japanese appeal, like this person loves anime. They are obsessed with Japanese culture in an unhealthy manner. So yeah, I disagree. And in fact, I don't just disagree, they're wrong.
Shame on them.
You got a one-way ticket to Crazy Town, and Nicolas Cage is your butterfly, sugar baby. Oh, sugar baby. I see what they're going for. Crazy Town. Damn it! I didn't even see it coming, and it just hit me. You've got a one-way ticket to Crazy Town, and Nicolas Cage is your butterfly, sugar baby. Damn. Right in my face. I got Crazy Town right in my face, and God damn it.
You fucked up.
Damn it.
You fucked up.
The Rage Cage is trapped in a post-apocalyptic wasteland with explosive attached to his wedding tackle, and he's surrounded by Japanese people. Production values are great. The acting is on point, and I can't tell you what this movie was about, but I respect Cage's dedication to the craft. He's really been going for it the last couple of years. See, that's like one from the mom, or it's got to be like, I don't know what it's about, but he's just real trying. He's really trying out there.
Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to be evaluating a movie on.
I love this movie. Yes, it was weird, but it was poetic as well. I'm going to need to watch it a few more times to try to understand all of it, but it made me think. I think a good movie makes you think without cramming an agenda down your throat. Just a way to look at things differently. What the fuck? What a
No.
fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, that's not one of these movies, folks. That person's a liar. This movie does not warrant a second watch. It doesn't warrant a first watch. So for our first movie we've ever reviewed, this is truly a pile of shit. And you should not watch Prisoners of the
Yeah.
Ghostland.
Not counting the wizard, I guess, huh?
Oh shit. Yeah, we did. Well, the wizard blew this fucking thing away. If you were back with us when we reviewed the wizard, that
I
was
agree.
in like our first 10 episodes or something. This fucking destroyed it. That is Citizen Kane level compared to this shit.
Yeah. And see, I love to be that guy. I love to be the contrarian. I love to be the guy that this was way better than the wizard because ... because of this and that. I love to take that side. I'm that guy. I'm the hipster douchebag dude that loves to make it something that nobody else likes. Try to make me like it to seem like I'm self-important, and I'm not doing it here. Okay,
I refuse
and
to.
I'm not.
This.
I can't get behind it. I can't even pretend to be that way right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming from that guy, and I can't do it right now. I can't defend it, and I'm really sorry if you watch this and you're still listening to this. Wow, thank you, Steve. Because I gotta know. Comment, please comment if you watch this. I gotta know if somebody watched it. I know Brett didn't make it through. I don't blame him. If you made it through this movie, let us know. Because now we're in this. We're in this together. That's the only redeeming part of this is we're in this club. We're prisoners in our own Ghostland, and it's of this movie.
And if this pissed you off,
I need to start a support group.
If this pissed you off, good news. You can pay to tell us what to watch next. I don't care if it's something you know or don't know. But good news is we'll take it.
Agreed.
Because it can't be worse. You literally can't recommend something that's worse. So we're all ears. If you want to suggest something for the low cost of whatever you're willing to fucking
Nothing's
pay.
going to be worse than our decisions.
It's correct.
Yeah.
Which will be to watch that movie. So that'll be the worst.
We've already made our own bed and it was terrible. It was, yeah. So yeah, I think Bill on YouTube, what do you say? Statue Kid. So what I'm gathering is that it costs about $4 to get Pauly Shore now, asking for a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that's correct.
Yeah. Folks, we're getting we're getting a lot of messages out there from people asking about, hey, can I pay you guys to debate things, 2 topics, bands, for instance? I won't share, but yes, you can. We will take a debate style format if you want, with 2 conflicting ideals. Doesn't matter what our own emotions are, because that's not what debates are about. Debates are about substance. So we will each take a stance. And we will talk about anything that you want us to talk about, especially now, because see, this is what happens when you let us make decisions on what we talk about. And episode 69 was completely dedicated to a horrible fucking movie. Help us help you.
69 dudes.
Yeah. And actually we do have an offer on the table. So if said person, we won't go public with it yet,
okay,
has 2 bands that they want debated for a certain price. Or unless we just want to do it anyway. We could just do it, say we're going to do it, and work on the honor system.
Wow. All right. That's
what
fine.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so all right, man. Yeah, go for it.
Or do they get publicly shamed if they don't follow through?
Yeah, we'll leave it to them.
All right. We've got a listener who wants us to debate. What's the price? What was the price again? Let's put it out there. The IRS is going to find out anyway. Let's just let people know what kind of like high level debate we're talking about here.
Hold on, let's see.
It might be double digits.
Yeah. Let's see. If I spend, it was $10. $10 to debate these bands.
$10.
Yeah.
All right, and the bands are Creed and Nickelback.
There you go. A lot to talk about with both of these
Can
bands.
You Take Me Higher, Rockstar?
Yeah. Folks, this is
All right.
hard hitting.
So that's what's at stake.
Yeah. So one of us will become Creed's biggest fan, and one of us will be Nickelback's biggest fan. Now, mind you, folks,
like, there'll be bullshit arguments. I mean, it's the sport. It's the sport of debate. Yeah, that's what it is.
Exactly. It's the objective sport of debate, so that there is a winner, whoever has a better argument based on whatever they choose to bring up. So nothing is off the table. It can be about the band members. It can be about their successes. It can be about their failures. It's just bringing up what you think will win you a debate for why one band is better than the other band. In general, the term generic term better. Very subjective, but we're going to try to use objective things. But when I get desperate, I'm just going to start throwing haymakers and throwing subjectivity out as well. So
it's going to get real personal.
You bet.
Don't talk about the Creed CDs I had, the mixed live Creed CDs that I used to make for money.
Wow.
Let's flip a coin and let's choose our sides.
Oh, here it is. All right.
Shall we?
Yeah. Do we have a virtual coin that we can flip?
Can we share
like
a screen?
Google?
We can. All right. I do.
So,
yep. So here's Tails has a fire, like an Olympic lantern.
And Heads is, I think,
and Heads has probably a head. It looks like a lady head. Yeah.
So,
okay. So let's do Heads is Creed. Tails is Nickelback.
For whom?
Want to do it like that?
Yeah, but for
whom?
We'll
flip for you.
Okay, so we're flipping on my side, and Heads is. Wait, shit! I already forgot. Heads Creed, Tails Nickelback.
Whatever you want.
Well, we call it
say
Heads.
So Head Creed, Tails Nickelback. You can switch it if you want to, if you believe.
Nope. It's I have to put an objective concept. So it's you would say it Heads and Tails, and alphabetically it's Creed then Nickelback. So Heads is Creed, Tails is Nickelback. Final answer. Let's go. Flip that coin.
And this is for Jeff's defense of Nickelback. I knew it. You bitch. You love Nickelback.
Oh, man.
You love Chad Kroeger.
I'm so excited because Matt's going to let out, like 17-year-old Matt's going to come out guns a-blazing defending Creed. And I'm here for it. Like, oh man, I can't wait for the arguments of like Mark Tremonti and his
it's my
leg
sacrifice.
up on a monitor. Oh man, Creed's hot this year.
Hey, there's one argument. You're going to have, did Nickelback have maybe between them the biggest single, maybe the biggest rock single ever, maybe one or two of them, sure. But did they have the greatest soul patch in rock history? I don't know. I guess you'll have to find out. I guess you'll have to tune in next time to find out.
All right.
Are we going to do it for the next one? Do we have enough time to prep, or do we need a couple episodes to really research? What are you feeling?
We'll give it.
Let's do 71.
We'll give it one. There'll be 71. That'll be 71.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Wow.
All right. But yeah, send them along, StrangeFam.
Yep.
Send us your comments about fucking Prisoners of the Ghostland if you watched it. Then yeah, we'll do debates, movies,
whatever you want, folks. Producer
send
credits
money.
get you producer
roles. It sounds like
a
money grab.
Just tell us what to do.
And it is.
Yeah.
Because we obviously can't do it for ourselves.
Nope. And
we
this
pick
was
things like Prisoners of the Ghostland.
This is the longest episode we've ever had, and it was the biggest waste of time by a mile, by a long shot.
Yep. But what is time? You know, time is controlled by the governor, and the important thing at the end of this episode is that time goes again. It keeps going.
Yeah. I'm radioactive.
Should I just? I'll just do that. I'll just do that.
That's good. It's a segue.
Hi, fucking yeah!